Hello, friends and Brave Masters. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I'm your brand, business, and brave strategist, helping entrepreneurs crack the code when it comes to understanding who they are as a brand, how to articulate it, how to monetize it, and make it profitable. And I love bringing you more amazing guests to the show and inspiring you to be great and to really get it that we're just real people like you. And if we can do it, you can do it. And here's another amazing guest. Hello, Maruxa Murphy. How are you? Welcome.
Hi, I am wonderful. Thank you so much, Jenna, for having me on the show.
You're
so
welcome.
Excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. I want to share with everybody how we met because I felt like an instant connection. Yes. And we actually just got back, 2 weeks ago from a trip to Atlanta to both speak at an event. And so we're speakers. And I just really am grateful that you walked up to me at lunch and said, "Can we have lunch together?" Because I'm just I feel like we're fast friends. So I really do appreciate that. And you are, and we were just talking about it. I was like, I have got to have you on my podcast, and I made it an exception. I made time for you sooner than my calendar would even allow, but because I know what a great conversation this is going to be, and just the amazing things that you're up to will be well received. So would you be so kind to just introduce to the world who you are and what your business is and all of that great stuff?
Sure, absolutely. And yes, I totally felt the same exact sentiments when I met you. I just saw you across the room, Jenna.
Love at first sight.
I was like, I want to know her. Awesome. And it was just so much fun to have lunch with you that one particular day, and then just continue that connection throughout the entire event. My name is Maruxa Murphy, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a mom of 3. I'm married to a great guy named Dennis. And we both, for a long time, lived in Texas. I just moved to Florida. And gosh, about me, what's coming up for me? Because it's so hard to always say, tell me about myself. What's coming up for me is that
whatever comes up for you.
Whatever comes up. What comes up, because I just actually wrote a little bit about it on a Facebook post, Instagram post, is that I'm a mom of 2 immigrant parents. I am a daughter of 2 immigrant parents. And also I was born in the Philippines. So I'm an immigrant myself. And at this point in my life, I'm working on 2 really big projects. One is something that I've been doing now for a couple of years. It's called Perky Perky. Yeah. Perky Perky is a coffee company that is all about. This is my morning. This is our girl, Perky.
I love it.
And I'm really all about, inviting women to step into our power. We need to do this as women, and we need to support each other in this process. And so I created this coffee company two years ago or so, because I know that for me, I find power in just being able to have me time. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes me time includes a nice cup of coffee and meditation or a devotion that I'll read or something to the effect that I can kind of sit into my day and know that I can create change, create impact in the day. Yeah. And so that's a huge thing that I'm working on. I'm working on a media company that I'm just in the start of right now called Female Powered. Wow. And we're really, yes. I'm so excited about it. And I'm in the middle of what that looks like. And it's also about inviting women to rise up into all of who they are and sharing our stories and how to do that. So good times.
I love it. And I know that was something else we had in common, right? I'm in Houston, Texas. You were in Austin at the time, right? Yes. I moved to Florida, which is something I've considered. I lived there at, a month in the summer, but so we just really connected on all different levels. And most importantly, I felt the powerful woman that you are and just the example that, you bring to the world. And I also felt the genuine, compassionate, and the mom, right? We're both moms.
Yeah.
And I just, you have such an amazing, you're driven as well. And I love that part of you too. Meaning, you go after what you want. And and this perkyperky.com, right, is your company site. And I love the brand and the branding, of course, that's what I look at. And so tell us a little bit, let's just go back in history a little bit and talk about how did you, because you had another company and you were doing something else, and then you kind of transitioned. So what was that story?
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll start off by saying this is such a great story around the conversation of bravery, quite honestly. Because I was an entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur pretty much since like 2005 is when I started dabbling into it. And then 2007, I actually took my first step in there, like big time step. Yeah. And then in 2009, I had a lot of failures. And then basically in 2009, I had my first success, and I grew that company into a, 6-figure company. It was all teaching virtual it was actually partnering with best-selling authors, speakers, and trainers to create these online telesummits. And then which ended up being like webinar summits, all these different types of like online events, basically. Right. So I did that for 6 years. And then in 2015, I had an opportunity to partner with a business incubator, basically. And it was partnering e-commerce brands with investors and influencers to bring them together and see what would it look like if business can be done faster simply because we're all in the same space. And it was there that I remember. So I had built that first company, ended up selling that company, joining this one, and running and building out this company. Right. Right. And I think for me, it was easy for me to be the person behind the scenes. Right. Yeah. And so this is why I'm talking about bravery here. It was easy for me. Like even though I had my own company in the virtual event space, I was always like being the person behind the scenes for someone else's voice. Right?
Yeah. Got it.
Awesome. And I think, and it's a very wonderful and worthy endeavor. And I did that. Right. But what I realized was I've always been a performer. I've been in theater my whole life. I thought I was going to be a theater major. I love sharing. I love being on the stage, and I love sharing my voice. And not just for my voice's sake, but I feel like oftentimes when I share something, people are like really wanting to know more, or wanting to understand. And I kept hiding behind that, knowing that these were my gifts. And I still at the same time was like, no, but I'll just let everybody else shine. Right. So I did that. And then I moved into this new role as the director of the community and building out this entire experience for all these amazing individuals. And one day, one of my clients came to me. We were in Las Vegas at an event, and he came to me and he goes, "More than leading us." And I was like, okay, but I love doing this, I love my job. It's great. And he just basically said to me, he goes, "No, but you know what we do. You know how much you can make if you build your own thing. What would it look like for you to put your name out there and build your own thing? What would that look like?" And I was like, yeah, he totally challenged me. In fact, there were a couple drinks involved, so in that, he was like, and there was a couple other people in the room too. And he was like, "I double dog dare you to do something for yourself." I'm like, oh boy, like seriously, man. No one double dog dares this girl, kind of thing. Right. So anyway, it was pretty funny. And it was one of those moments where I was like, I left that conversation and I went back and I started thinking like, what would I create? What would if I stopped myself from playing small, if I chose to play big, what would I create? Right. And that was when I realized there was a moment not too long from that moment where I really, truly, I think one of my saving graces was my morning cup of coffee with my meditation time and just centering into myself, because I had just become a mom of 3. And my youngest just, I love her dearly now, and I always loved her, but like I was I think it was probably postpartum, quite honestly, Jena, without it being diagnosed, because I was so searching and seeking myself and trying to find. On the outside, everyone thought it was great. I looked fine, but in the inside, I was, quite honestly, I felt like I was dying and I was suffocating.
Yeah. Wow.
And the only thing that really got me beyond that place was to realize it's because I had all these unrealistic expectations of what it meant to be a mom and to be a mom of 3. And I had to do all the things, plus be a business owner, or, and run a successful company. And I melted. I couldn't do it. I could not live those expectations.
Right.
I could not. And what I recognized was I was giving myself so much away to everyone else. And I finally had to get back to me. And that cup of coffee was the thing that centered me into a space where I could meditate and I could get into prayer.
Got it.
And I found myself again. Right.
Wow.
I found myself through my writing. I found myself through just being present with my body, loving my body for the first time.
Yeah.
And the after being a mom state, which means there's a lot more roles than I used to have.
And we're not talking
body skin.
LES.
Not that.
That's not the roles we're talking about.
Right.
Those are there too.
Those are there too. Yes, that's true. That's true.
We have roles and we have roles.
We have roles and we have roles. So learning how to love myself in this new person that I am. So anyway, when I took that dare, I basically was like, you know what if? And then I started doing a ton of research, and I was like, should I get into the coffee space? Do I even know how to get there? Because I knew my dad is a huge coffee connoisseur. I'm a huge coffee snob because of him. I know what good coffee is. I couldn't just go and say like, hey, give me, whatever, some cheapo coffee off the street and roast that stuff. No way. So I really did about a year of research. And then I made the decision. I went to my husband. And my husband, basically said, that is the stupidest idea. I hope he's not watching this.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
I hope he's not watching this, right? But he did not like the idea. In fact, he was like, I don't see how you're going to make any money with it. It's coffee. How are you going to make that different from anyone else?
Right.
And I remember that moment so clearly. I sat it was at night, and I sat at the kitchen table, and I was quite a bit defeated. And then at the same time, I was like, but I just know that I know that I know that I know that I need to go do this. I know that I need to actually try it. Because what if it fails? Then it fails. At least I tried it. And what if it doesn't fail?
Right.
Well, then I've now created and crafted something that can serve the world in a bigger and better way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that next morning, my brave step was going to him, and I said, you don't have to support me in this at all. I'm doing it anyway. I will fund the whole thing myself. I will figure it out.
Wow.
And he was like, and he was mad at me, and I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And I've proved him wrong, which is not really the reason. But my point is like, I was so proud of myself, Jena.
Yeah.
That I went and I said, I don't have, and up to that point, being an actress, I was so used to how are people going to experience this? Mm-hmm. All the other voices of everyone else telling me how I'm supposed to live my life and show up. I was doing it for me because of the conviction I was feeling. And that felt really good.
That's amazing. And I think this is a testament to, whether it's our husbands or our friend, they have our best interest in heart. Like I
absolutely
100% believe that.
Absolutely.
And so they have their own fears about it and their own doubts, like our chatter is, you had doubts too. You were in the process of working through your doubts.
Yeah.
And people around us, when we come up with the idea, because now we're ready. Now we're just like, okay, I worked through all the doubts in my head. Now I can communicate it.
Yep.
Then they're left with their doubts too. And so, sometimes it's our husbands and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's our mom or dads or friends or neighbors or colleagues even. It's whoever it is outside of you that sometimes shows up as the mirror of our doubt. And we have to be stronger than that mirror reflection
That's a great point.
Say what you said, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure it out. Like, that is one of my brave mottos is yes, say yes and figure it out. Right. So that's what you did. And
totally.
yeah. And you, it's so funny because you shared what your company was over the weekend when we met. And I, of course, went to the website. I'm like, oh my gosh, how cute is this? Like how adorable and how different and how because you and me both talk about like that brand experience and you're amazing at that. And how important it can be for people to connect, because a brand is connection for me, and
right.
And
exactly.
for you to create that in coffee is like amazing. And of course you look like the girl.
And that's so funny. I know a lot of people say like, you're the girl, right? And I'm like, actually, I'm not the girl. We have a whole story behind that. I actually, before I even launched a single bag of coffee, I invited our people, my Facebook friends, basically, to be a part of voting on the logo.
Nice.
And they totally were like, we need to have her this. I mean, they gave me all the specs for who this person. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
You can put your hair up and you'd be right in there. Yeah. I love it. So first of all, congratulations. I know you've been like featured in Forbes and all these great things, and you're just doing your thing. And for the sake of this conversation though, it's like, go back to when you said you had many failures, that first couple years or whatever, like give us some insight into what that looked like and how you kind of overcame it.
Absolutely. And just let me finish up, because if he does watch this, I want to make sure that he knows this. He is one of my biggest fans to this date.
Oh, I bet.
At this point. So let me just make sure.
It's okay. Yeah, there you go.
No, but he really is. He's one of my biggest cheerleaders and gets me so much love for choosing bravery. So failures. Yes. So I think one of my, I laugh about it now. It feels like failure at the time was like, I mean, obviously when failure in the moment, it feels so heavy and big.
Right.
And I definitely don't want to downplay that. I feel like I have the opportunity now, 13 years later, to look at it and go, thank God for that failure.
Yes.
Like, woo! I'm so glad that happened. Because I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have kept getting to the place that I am today and who I will become tomorrow. So the failure that I had, I loved scrapbooking so very much. I was totally one of those women, but I've done it since I was a kid, just putting making pages that were just like gorgeous. And,
awesome.
You have all the pictures and things. So I had this idea to basically create scrapbooks for other people because everyone's busy. And most of my clients were grandmothers who had shoe boxes of photos. And I was like, that's it. That's the idea. I will support these mamas that have had years and years, decades of life to be able to really have something that they can give, pass on to their children that they'd be proud of. So I would record their stories as they're going through the photos. Right? I'd be recording it, and then I'd transcribe some of that into the book and everything. But, these books take a lot of time. So I was like, well, I think these books are going to cost me around $500 each to make. I have never met anyone that really wants to buy a $500 scrapbook.
You're like, is there a market? Maybe a handful. Yeah, maybe a handful, but it's not going to be a viable business in the way in which I thought I could leave my corporate job at the time. Right. So that was my first big failure. I spent a lot of money. I still to this day have a ton of scrapbooking stuff that my girls now use. It's still up there.
It's still up there because the paper is acid free, so it lasts forever. But my girls now use it, for different crafts, and I play in there too with them.
For sure.
But, I spent like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all the things. Yeah. And so what I learned from that experience early on was, is there a market for it? Can we check on demand before we do all the things? Can we test before we go and invest our livelihood in something? So it was a good first lesson to learn. And at that time it was hard because I put, basically a whole
You're all
paycheck.
passionate about it and ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah. And I put a whole paycheck and a whole bunch of time, and it felt like a rejection.
Yes. Right.
But again, like I said, super grateful for that. Another failure was, I started a membership website, and this was further down. It was in 2008-ish, 2009. Started a membership website, and I thought for sure this would be like the thing, but I just didn't know how to do it. Right. So I did all the things that I knew how to do to make it happen, but I didn't know how to get traffic. Like I had no idea how to get eyeballs to
this membership. Yeah.
So again, I realized my biggest failure was building something before they come. Like you have this idea. I have a master's in counseling, and I always say I loved my degree, and the one thing I wished that they taught me was how to market the darn thing, the darn degree, and so no one taught me that. So everyone thinks you just put the shingle up and you're going to get all the business coming right to you, and it just doesn't happen. So that's kind of what happened for me as well when I tried to create that membership site. So those are a couple of my bigger failures, which I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right. it felt big in the moment, and certainly my bias store, I thought everything was going to be great. And then I'm sitting in front of a bankruptcy attorney. So that wasn't what I planned, right? 2007. But yes, I'm like so grateful. Like that's the beginning of the amazing ride of a roller coaster. It's like that's the beginning, or somewhere in the middle. And but what I hear in that, and I second that, I think people get degrees, or they get they have a passion for counseling, or or whatever it is, and yet they're missing the market, the marketing, and the market, and the brand, and it's like all these business basics. And I had to learn them myself. It's kind of like throw yourself into a crash course about it. But I think what's interesting, that you talk about this membership, and, it's like whatever the idea is. And do we, sometimes that's, I think the great sign of a great entrepreneur is ideas. It's like, if you don't have any ideas, then you're just following somebody else's lead.
That's true.
And so, and now it's like perky. Of course there's a market for coffee. You just have to figure out how to stand out and grab a piece, just 1%, if that, of the market share that exists. And you'll still be highly successful, right? Because there's a huge market for it.
Exactly.
And, it's so awesome. I get to have my lawn guys here while we're doing this call. So forgive me if you hear some white noise in the.
It's all good. If you hear little jingling on my end, it's my 10-month-old dog just trying to do all the things right now.
All the things.
He's so awake.
The hyper dog. But and I just want to ground this conversation, because I think people, it's like they have ideas, but they don't give them a shot.
Yes.
Give them a shot, even though you might have put a little skin in the game and some money in the game. And certainly I put some skin in the game when mine didn't work. And you just do not give up, period.
Yes.
That's the sign of a brave entrepreneur. Meaning it's like one idea doesn't work. It doesn't mean you run backwards to what you think is safe.
No.
And I think that's what you have done. You've just unfolded what's next every single step of the way. And
I actually have a process. I actually have a process for that too, awesome. Because it's kind of like, I call it my ritual.
Yes.
And it's morning ritual, but it's a ritual for when projects go south.
Okay. Yeah.
And what I mean by that, or even like something that I'm thinking will work, like a marketing plan or marketing promotion, I think will work, and it doesn't.
Right.
What I always do is I'll give myself some space, maybe a day or two from like when like the effect happened, right? Like this thing impacted me. I'm so sad. I'm super upset by the whole thing, whatever. I'll give myself a couple days and just sit into some breathing, right? He's eating his toy. This is going to be loud. I'm going to move that away from him. So I know. He's like, what am I going to do now?
Isn't it playtime?
It's totally playtime. Come here, baby. So I sit into it, and then I give. He's going to join us. He's going to sit on my lap. Come here, babes. This is
Those
Archie.
watching get to see the puppy.
Hi,
Look
puppy.
at the puppy.
This is Archie.
Hi, puppy. He's so adorable.
He's a sweet boy.
He looks way older than 10 months, though.
I know, right? He's like a wise old dog.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, what I do is I'll sit in the understanding of what just happened.
Right.
But then really try to reflect on the wisdom. What can I appreciate from what just happened? And I will journal that out as much as I can. Sometimes it's really hard to figure out what I can appreciate from it. Completely transparent, right? But at the same time, I give myself that double dog dare and say, what if there was some good out of this? What if there was something I could have learned? I can learn now that I can never do again, or I can learn from and tweak for the next time.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that has really helped me stay more present with what is working.
Right.
And then also look back and see, oh, actually, but this thing worked, even though the whole thing kind of did not work. What did work? What can I be appreciative that actually did work? Let's do more of that. And it gives you that reflection. That reflection time itself gives me opportunity to just own it all and then move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that you shared that, because I think that's what more people need to take on is, and maybe mine's not that formal. I don't journal as much as I probably could. However, I do a lot of thought process and looking and thinking and observing and all of that. So it's kind of like whatever works for you. And, I think anybody watching can adopt that exercise, that practical process. And, there was something else I was going to, I heard, and it was like, oh, it's going away. Hold on just a second. So what I heard also, oh yes. Okay. It came back. Is if we don't have the contrasts, like if we're always like, it always works, we're always safe, we're always like level, then we never get to experience the ups and down contrasts to know the difference. Right. So it's like if it was,
That's right.
it's like if it was always 70 degrees out, we would never know what 90 felt like or 60 felt like,
That's right.
There's no contrast. And it's in the contrast that we learn versus in the safe, steady, always the same.
Yeah.
And for entrepreneurs, I believe that every kind of failure, or it just isn't working the way I planned it, or it's not happening fast enough, all those things that, we might think it's such an opportunity to be a part of our story.
Right.
And so I was just sitting in this place like 6 months ago. I've launched an online course, and it's new territory. Like I haven't done a course before. I haven't launched it online. I haven't done Facebook ads at the level I'm doing now, all those things. Right. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm ready and it's going to work and it's going to be great and all these creations, and then it's kind of like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's not quite working. It's like people are buying off the webinar, I'm in the frustration instead of, that it's like, oh, everything's seamless. And I remember saying to myself, I said, okay, this is just part of the story. So it will, do not quit. That's what I said to myself. Do not quit, figure it out, hire the help if I need to, right? Like get resourceful instead of quit and assume it doesn't work.
Exactly.
You gotta sometimes try it longer than you expect before it will work. And because there's so many different, variables. There's everything in entrepreneurship is a variable.
Yes.
Right? There's no fixed answer. So, and I just see how brilliant you have moved from one variable to the next throughout your journey, and you're still standing. And now it's like check you out. You have this empowerment coffee company, which I think is so cool.
It's fun.
Who would have thought empowerment and coffee?
I know, right? And I had to try it out. Like, I'm like, well, I didn't know either, but someone's got to do it. Why not me?
Why not Maruxa? And so I'm so grateful for you being who you are and the example that you are, the mom that you are, and the, just like the brave entrepreneur that you are, because that's what gives us the example, the leadership for us to go do that for ourselves, and,
Awesome.
And that's what this is all about. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we as women need more of us in each other's lives, right? We need less, cattiness. I'm going to call that out. And we need more freaking love on each other and support for each other. Hi, Archie. to really, to see us really shine in the fullness of who we are. Right. Yeah. I think our media has told, oh my goodness, boy. Our media has told us for the longest time.
It's okay.
He's like begging over here.
The dog agrees.
He does this like begging thing, and it's just fun. So what I was saying is that we need our media has done us as women a disservice, and has really kind of tried to pigeonhole us to infighting and who looks better than who and what, and all this competition. We're not made for competition. Yeah. We women are made for collaboration and connection. Yeah. And we can use competition in a healthy way to really shape us and grow us and challenge us to the next version of ourselves. But if we actually leaned in as women into all the things that really make us amazing, which is the community side of who we are and the village side of who we are, like really seeing each other as a village, then how much stronger can we all be because of that?
Completely. I think it's it's like, how big can we create the foundation and the community of that mission?
Oh my goodness. Jena, I am so embarrassed. This dog.
It's okay.
He wants to play with his like,
him. He's just a little baby.
Just so fun.
It's not that loud actually, but he's so cute. And he just wants to be a part of the mission.
He does. We call him Cat Dog because he loves to be right in my arms all the time.
Sweet thing. I know, mine's trained. He's laying in his
bed. Boy. Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah. And I think you've just really, kind of nailed the message, is that, competitiveness with self, meaning like what drives you to be better, is one thing, but trying to break anybody else down in the process, I think, is where we've kind of stepped backwards.
And we just don't need to do it. Yeah, I mean, it's such an old paradigm of feeling like, oh, we have to be, there's only one spot, so we have to be the one to get it.
Yeah, it comes from lack and scarcity.
It is. Like, versus
for all of us.
Exactly. So when we can show up in that space of collaboration and plentifulness, being in an abundance, life is so much better. It's so much funner, more fun. Gosh, I'm making up all these words. We just we can enjoy life that much more with one another. So. Yeah.
I love it. And I so appreciate this conversation. Thank you for being here, being a part of it, and the doggy too. It's all perfect.
Sweet Archie. Sweet Archie.
This is the life of an entrepreneur. So we have dogs at work. And so for the sake of everybody watching and listening, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
Sure. So if they are wanting coffee, please go to our website, perky.com. We can get you, basically, if you give us your email, we'll send you a 20% off coupon off of your first order.
Awesome.
So you can totally try it out. It's, again, I believe it's really good. All of my customers are just like huge fans about this coffee. And I'm a big coffee snob, so I can't.
Yeah, you would know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm like, I believe you.
I will send you some. Oh yeah, you don't drink coffee.
No, my husband does though. He'll drink it all up.
I'll send you guys some.
Oh, thank you.
So you can try it out. And so that's definitely, if you're, Jena just mentioned that I was talking about customer experience during this conference. I do a lot on helping people really show up in their business from a creating experience perspective. And so it's looking at the little touches. And so if you're interested in learning about that, or just, following me on Instagram, Go to MarushaMurphy.com and it will link you to all my things, and you can get to know me better that way.
Yeah, she's an amazing consultant in that brand experience, conversation, customer experience. Yeah. And of course, you have an amazing brand called Perky Perky. So we'll put all that in the show notes as well. And this has been so amazing. I love you. I love connecting with you again. And I just really am, I'm a big supporter. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jenna. I really appreciate you having me here and being able to connect with you and all the amazing people that are listening or watching.
Yeah, for sure. So one final question, and then we'll close out. I always like to leave with this is, if this was your final interview, like never to speak again, what would be the message that you want to leave in the world?
Do all the things that make you so freaking happy, because life is too short.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. That's it. It's that simple.
It is. Yeah.
Stop waiting, right? Stop waiting.
Just go for it.
Go for it. Yeah. I double dog dare you.
Yes, that's a great call to action. Double dog dare you.
That's a great one, right?
Go for it.
You should have a double dog dare podcast. Right?
Thank you for that.
I like that.
Very fun. Yeah.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again. I'm so grateful. And everyone watching and listening, until next time, let's go get our brave on. Talk to you soon.